Welcome to my next Supernatural Season 2 episode review video. Before I talk about that, though, pretty important, if you haven't watched all the way through Season 2, Episode 2 of Supernatural, then it would be my recommendation that you don't watch this detailed review any further to avoid any potential spoilers. And full disclosure, you already know, this is my first time watching the show Supernatural. Heard a lot about it over the years and finally decided to check it out, so join me on the journey and let's discuss this show in the comment section. But please, don't spoil anything, at least in this video's comment section, that happens after this episode. So with all that said, this will be Supernatural Season 2, Episode 2. The title of this episode is called Everybody Loves a Clown. And this will be my first time watch review reaction recap after just finishing watching the episode. We start at the Cooper Carnival. The place is crowded with families, rides, and freak shows, and one little girl in particular sticks out of the crowd. She notices a somber-looking clown behind one of the booths, waving to her. "Mommy, look, look, it's another clown!" She cries, tugging her mom's arm, but by the time she gets her parents' attention, the clown has vanished. As they are driving home from the circus, the little girl sees the clown again off to the side of the road in the shadows. It is waving at her, and she waves back. Later that evening, after the girl is tucked into bed, she notices a strange shadow on her ceiling coming from the window. She gets out of bed to look out the window and sees the clown waving at her from the front lawn. The girl walks downstairs, unlocks the front door, and invites the clown into the house. The clown takes her by the hand as he or it steps inside, shutting the door behind it. And then we have Sam and Dean stand behind each other as they watch their father's remains burn into ashes in a typical Hunter funeral. Sam asks Dean if their dad said anything to him before he died. Struggling to give a response, Dean, with a lump in his throat, replies, "No." The audience knows that this is a lie, of course. Dean's working hard on repairing the Impala. It's been a slow process, but work is being accomplished. Dean's getting very frustrated with Sam because he keeps asking Dean if he's all right. Sam's a bit surprised that Dean hasn't shown the least bit of interest in trying to hunt the yellow-eyed demon since their dad died. Dean says they can't hunt this demon because they've got no lead on where it is, and anyway, they've lost the only leverage they had on killing the damn thing, the Colt. Sam tells Dean that he retrieved a voicemail message on one of their dad's old cell phones that's 4 months old from a woman named Ellen saying, "Hey, John, it's Ellen. Look, don't be stubborn. You know I can help you. Call me." Sam is able to trace an address from the number, which leads them to what appears to be an abandoned roadhouse in the middle of nowhere. Sam and Dean are temporarily driving a minivan, which was the only running vehicle Bobby had, and the car makes Dean feel humanized. The boys enter the roadhouse, and only person present is lying on the pool table and appears to be knocked out cold. As they continue to explore the roadhouse, Ellen and her daughter Jo approach them with rifles, but lower them when Ellen realizes who they are. Sam and Dean discover that the roadhouse is a meeting place for other supernatural hunters like themselves. They tell Ellen about their dad's death, and she is saddened. She tells them that the guy asleep on the pool table, Ash, can help track the yellow-eyed demon. While Dean talks to Jo, Sam notices a folder behind the bar and asks Ellen if he can take a look at it. The folder contains an unsolved police case that occurred not far from the roadhouse. Sam and Dean agree to check out this case. Sam looks over the details of the case and explains to Dean that there have been several murders over the past month in this small town, which the most recent murder occurring last week. The suspect is said to be disguised as a clown from Cooper Carnival. He left the daughter unharmed and murdered the parents. The cops had no visible lead. All the employees at the circus were tearing down equipment at the time of the murder, and the girl claims to have seen a clown vanish into thin air. However, the cops are saying that it is trauma that has made the girl imagine this. Similar murders occurred back in 1981 at Bunker Brothers Circus. This strikes the brothers as odd, as usually spirits are settled in one particular location. Sam and Dean speculate that a cursed object within the circus could be leading this spirit to move from city to city. Then we have Evan and his dad walk through the funhouse. Evan is playing a video game, not showing any interest in the funhouse. As Evan continues to walk through the funhouse, he notices a clown in one of the mirrors waving to him. Evan tells his dad that he saw a clown and looks scared. His dad tries to calm him by telling him that clowns are his friend and that there's nothing to be afraid of. During the night at Evan's house, Evan walks into his parents' room, waking his dad up. "Dad, you were right. He is my friend," he says. Looking up, his dad sees the evil clown standing at his bedside, holding Evan's hand, and starts screaming. If a cursed object is dragging the clown from place to place, they're going to have to do an EMF scan, or they're going to have to EMF scan the entire carnival. But Sam says that's like trying to find a needle in a stack of needles. If it could be anything. They decide to get jobs at the circus so they will blend in with the crowd. While looking for Mr. Cooper, the proprietor, Sam and Dean encounter a blind man throwing knives who is immediately suspicious of them. When they find Mr. Cooper, they attempt to convince him to hire them, but he is skeptical, saying that the circus is a haven for the freaks in this world, and that 2 young men like them should try to go to school, finding girlfriends, that sort of thing. Then we have Sam manages to convince him to hire them, and then after leaving Mr. Cooper's office, Dean asks Sam whether he really meant what he told Cooper about not wanting to go back to school, and Sam tells Dean he's been having second thoughts, thinking that their dad would want him to stick with the job. Later, while picking litter, the boys split up, or the Sam and Dean split up, and start scanning around the carnival with their EMF meters, but find nothing. When they meet up again by the funhouse to compare notes, they notice a little girl saying to her mom, "Mommy, look at the clown!" Looking to the spot where she is pointing, Sam and Dean see nothing. They believe that this little girl is the spirit's next victim. They decide to stake out her house that night to make sure. While watching the house, they see the girl open the front door and take somebody invincible to them by the hand and walk upstairs, heading for her parents' room. They manage to break into the house in time to stop the clown and fire a few rounds of rock salt at it. But the clown still manages to escape. The girl's parents, terrified and furious, drive them from the house. Sam and Dean ditch the minivan off the side of an empty road, fearing that the girl's parents saw their license plate. Sam confronts Dean about his strong silence toward their dad's death. Dean, very pissed off, again reiterates that he's okay, and that the next person who asks him if he's okay, he's going to start throwing punches at. Dean finds it weird that Sam spent his entire life fighting with John, and now he wants to do what he thinks John would have wanted. Dean says it's too late. It's too little, too late. Sam calls Ellen and asks her opinion on this killer clown. She says her best guess would be that it's Rakshasa, a race of Hindu creatures that take on human form and feed on human flesh. They can make themselves look invincible, and they can't enter a home without first being invited. Rakshasas, I can't remember how to say that now. Rakshasas live in squalor, sleeping on a bed of dead insects. They have to feed a few times every 20 to 30 years, which would explain the timeline of the murders at the Bunker Brothers Circus back in 1981. Ellen also tells Sam that the one sure way to kill it is by using a dagger of pure brass. They guess that Cooper is the spirit because they know he worked at both shows. Dean visits the blind knife floor they met earlier, thinking he might have a dagger of brass that they can use. Sam sneaks into Cooper's office by looking for bed bugs and is caught by Cooper at gunpoint. The blind man invites Dean into his office and asks him to open the trunk in the corner. When Dean opens it, he finds the clown suit and realizes that the blind man is Rakshasa. Looking back, Dean watches as the blind man vanishes into thin air and starts throwing knives at Dean. He manages to burst out of the office without getting hit. Sam and Dean head into the funhouse to try and trap the clown, or the Rakshasa. However, it has made itself invisible to them and starts throwing knives once again at Dean. Sam breaks a brass piece off a nearby organ, and Dean, who is pinned, turns on a vent and lets the steam come through so he can see the invisible figure. When it sneaks up behind Sam, he spikes the brass metal into the Rakshasa. In the midst of all the steam leaving the room, we hear the Rakshasa screaming as it decomposes into a pile of dust. Ellen is very pleased with the boys' work on this case. Meanwhile, Ash, who has been tracking the demon for the past 51 hours, tells Sam and Dean that the demon is nowhere to be found. He has, however, managed to collect the existing data on the demon and create a program that will alert him if the signs of the demon appear anywhere in the world. He says he'll call them if he hears anything. The astonished brothers ask him how he knew how to build the program, and Ash tells them he went to MIT before he was kicked out for fighting. Jo also tells Dean she'd like to see him again after he confesses. Normally he'd be hitting on her, but this is the wrong time, wrong place. Dean is once again working on repairing the Impala. Sam approaches him to apologize for trying to pick a fight with their dad the last time he saw them. For all he knows, their dad died thinking that Sam hated him. He also realizes that what he's doing really is too little and it's too late to make up for the past. Sam says that he feels guilty as hell and that he's not all that right, but he also says that neither is Dean. After Sam walks away in the midst of silence, Dean takes a crowbar and smashes the glass of the first door on one of the scrap cars and the Impala's trunk with all of his strength, finally releasing all of his anger and emotion that has built up inside of him. And that's what ends this episode of Supernatural. So I wasn't the biggest fan of this one. I was kind of dozing off during it. It happens. I'll score the episode a 7.0 out of 10, and my character of the episode, most memorable to me is either Sam or Dean, so I'm going to give it to Dean. So you've heard everything that I have to say. Now it's your turn. If you're a fan of Supernatural and you want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, please make sure that you Hulk smash the like button. It does help the channel quite a bit. Share the video with a friend. Put this video on any one of your social media platforms. Don't forget to sound off in the comment section about what your thoughts are regarding this episode of Supernatural. What would you rate the episode, and who would you choose as your character of the episode? And then last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button. You're watching the video anyway. Subscribe to the channel. Help me get over 100,000 subscribers. Yes, I know I set my goals pretty high. Join the team, show your damn support, and be a part of something special. And you never know what you're going to see on JDAV TV.